Hey everybody, it's Jonah Lupton, your host of Startup Sense, back again with another great episode. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. On the phone, we got Steven Blustein from PrideBites. Steven, how are you?
I'm great, Jonah. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it, man. So you're actually the first big Shark Tank success company that we've had on the show. So I'm excited to talk to you, learn about the company, learn about what Shark Tank has done for the business. Before we jump into all that, why don't you just give us a little background on yourself?
Yeah, definitely. And honored to be that first one. There's quite a few of us now, so very appreciative. My background, I started at the University of Kansas. I have a master's in tax. I went into tax accounting, and then right from basically our college apartment, we developed the idea. So from that, I transitioned right into CEO of PrideBites.
Cool. So when did you guys start the company?
We started it back in 2010. I was in grad school. Some of the other guys maybe were juniors in college. And it was really just to develop a better dog toy for our dogs at the beginning.
So, okay, so this was actually like a college startup then.
Yeah, absolutely. We have that American dream story of all best friends who were in college together, developed the idea in college, designed, prototyped it all through the college process. Happened to some of us transitioned out of college, some of us in first-time roles and jobs, and started the business all together.
So back then, the company was just four people, it sounds like. What is it now in terms of number of employees?
Company's up to 11 employees.
Awesome.
We have teams in China, Bangladesh, Israel, and America. So we're definitely very global on our end.
So where do you guys do the manufacturing? Is that in China?
Everything's in China, yes.
Okay, cool. How often do you guys have to go over there? I mean, have you personally been to China?
Yeah, actually, I go about 4 times a year. It's really important for me to see directly into the factories that we're working with and making sure that the quality is really up to our standards, and that it's a unique process. Everything's made one of a kind and handmade for that matter. So I'm there about 4 times a year with a full team on the ground that's constantly inspecting products there. We're very, very involved in the factory process.
So go back to 2010. What was the problem, that you guys were trying to solve?
At first, it was that most dog toys on the market were pretty stale, especially for the price point. And we wanted to just do something different. We designed this foam-based dog toy called the PrideBite, made with 2 layers of Durabite fleece sewn together with a ripstep technology. We used foam, a Tempur-Pedic style foam that was different from all the other toys in the market that were cotton-based. We didn't like cotton. If ingested, actually, cotton can be tangled up in your dog's digestive tract and doesn't pass out easily. So foam actually breaks up super, super small, passes out the bowel system, and is not really any issue to the dog. So on top of that, for the health purposes of just interacting with the toy, it also is machine washable and is a great indoor-outdoor stuffing for the product because it floats and the dog can play with it. So super lightweight, gives off a yielding experience that probably the dog has never experienced before. And at $9.99, it's probably the best, or I'll stand by it today and say it's the best $9.99 dog toy that you're ever going to find on the market. And that's what we aim to do.
Now, were you guys manufacturing in China from the very beginning?
We were actually. One of our co-founders, Ting Lu, was originally from China and has just a lot of connections into Chinese business life there, and is very well networked, and helped us establish and create not only our first factory set up and working with them, but our product is pretty difficult, so it's not just every factory accepts it. And then really helped us expand in China to really the beast that we are today there. Essentially, we have a number of factories we work with and have a really complex system for how we do unique manufacturing.
So how long, I mean, from when you four got together and came up with this idea to when you guys were actually manufacturing products, how long did that take?
We all got together. The first product took about 60 days to come back from China. It was the first iteration. It was just completely different than what we had expected. In that process, to iterate to the first product that we sold actually to a consumer took about 1.5 years. We went through a lot. We went through stress testing on multiple sizes of dogs. It's good that all of us have different bites, different dogs, different bites, different sizes, different pull strengths. And then in addition, we would get really picky about the foam style, the density of the foam. We would blindfold each other and kind of feel everything. We weren't in a rush. We were in college. So we had time to really do it the way that we wanted to do it.
Especially when you're dealing with people's pets. I mean, you got to be really sure that everything is safe and up to standards and regulations, before you start selling the stuff and hurting people's pets possibly. But are there standards and regulations in the pet industry when it comes to toys?
There's actually not, and that was a big problem of ours. Actually, some of the first customers that we ever tried, we got a box of 40 of these things when we first started the PrideBites, and we just sent them to vets. We wanted to see what they thought of it, what was the interaction on their level. It was pretty complex to deal with a situation where there's really no liability behind the product. I think if actually something happens, God forbid, to some of these dogs,
Right.
It's basically just the cost of the dog that the company is liable for. Now, I'm not sure how those laws will adapt over time, but that's what it was when we first started. And in that case, we wanted to make sure that this wasn't just something that we could create, and there wasn't that complete functional use, whether it was good for the dog or bad for the dog, or et cetera. So yeah, we have a number of vets that have signed off that gave us their advanced recommendation, and that was really, really important to us to set our own standard.
Would you say, okay, cool. What kind of feedback did you guys get from the vets? They liked it, obviously.
They love the foam. I mean, that's the most important thing. I think that would set us apart. We won Best Dog Toy of the Year about a month and a half after we launched in the market. It was like a complete shock. I was still a tax accountant. I quit my job and basically went to China to try to figure things out even more. And my business partner Sean Connect, he was in the sports licensing business, marketing business, and Sam Lampe at the time, he's one of our other founders. He was still in college, and we got that award, we just quit. And I think what they gravitated towards, and everyone has gravitated towards, is the foam stuffing. It's so unique to a dog toy, specifically one that kind of gives off the yielding experiences that dogs are really attracted to it. Whether we're not made for every single dog. Obviously, we're not the most indestructible toy out there. We're a really, really durable toy for the price point. We do last longer than most toys, given our shape and the way that the dogs play with it. But again, the way that we're able to do all that or sustain such great features is with that foam core.
Cool. So in the beginning, it sounded like you guys kind of created your own SKU. When did you guys get into the custom toy business?
We did create our own SKU. We got into the custom toy business when one of our retailers just came to us and said, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Can we make one of our own?" And then we started to see that the standard base of it, since our toy is pretty much like flat, right, and it has this two-dimensional element to it, that we can put any image on it, and we can cut the foam, and we can layer it in any shape or form. So we really started out like that because we didn't want to be like a promotional product company where we just slapped an image on a product. We wanted to make your logo or your design or whatever it was the product, and that's how we kind of entered that market.
Who was the retailer that first came to you? Are you allowed to say their name?
It was Pet Planet. They're a multi-store chain up in Canada. Great chain, really high quality products, and we were really fortunate to work with them very early.
So that was kind of the big aha moment, like, okay, there's this other market that no one's really tapping into. So how did you guys really, scale up the custom toy market? Did you go out and find more retailers to create, custom toys for, or did you guys start going direct to consumer and giving them the option of creating their own toys?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it in the follow-up, but really to figure out how to make custom toys efficiently, effectively, that was kind of the first mindset behind things. But on the sales end, we started contacting retailers, people that the minimums were super high at the very beginning. I think it was like 2,000 units we could make a custom toy. So you had a very limited market there. We did start making single unit toys, but it was much later, and actually social media really helped us propel in that angle. We used to, so we had these custom discs that you can see today, or frisbees, and then we had these custom X people were in the shape of literally people, and you could put your face on it and choose kind of your wardrobe. And that will be relaunching sometime in the near future on PrideBites, but we launched that at the very beginning, and our custom tool was so basic. And what we started seeing is that people would actually get the product, and then they go to Instagram. This is when Instagram was first starting, and they would post the image of them next to the toy or their dog next to the toy, and they would do #dog first toy. And that started to gain some leverage, and we grew really, really quickly on Instagram. We actually today have 87,000 followers, but it was a great channel for us to really harness and get our word out that, hey, we're doing something different here. And then being able to kind of let the customer dictate where we wanted to take things.
So, okay. So social media, the images, the sharing, the hashtags kind of created a little viral effect then, kind of grassroots organic. That's good. That's cheap.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cheap marketing, zero.
Absolutely. I think up until like last week, we had never paid for an image of our products. It was always user submitted. We have over 10,000 user submitted images on Instagram. Even, obviously it adds to that when you go to Facebook and Pinterest, et cetera. So we have great shareable content, and yes, that was definitely very key to our expansion.
What's the turnaround time? If you guys are manufacturing in China, I assume that's where everything is still done. So it has to ship over here?
It does. So everything is done there. We have a full unique process that goes right from our e-commerce platform, goes through an integral design process, which goes through our main design teams, and then they send it to China. China produces the item. We have an in-depth look, our system that we've created, into every department and into every factory that we work with, where we can see exactly where your product is at any given moment. And then basically it gets spit out and sent to the customer. Standard production time is about 2 weeks. Shipping takes about 2 weeks overall from China to here, and then from the customer, from our warehouse to the customer. It's about 3 to 4 weeks is when we give our estimates for customers.
Okay. I mean, I would think this is probably a pretty busy time as people start ramping up holiday gift ideas.
Yeah, this is a great time for us. We really enjoy seeing all the unique designs that come in from our customers and interacting with customers during this time. So definitely during this time.
So let's talk about Shark Tank. My favorite show by far. 8-9 million Americans turn into Shark Tank. Tune in every Friday night and see what new companies are coming up. I know that's been a huge boost for the business, but kind of take us back to when you decided to apply for Shark Tank. What did that application process look like? When did you guys get a call back saying you're going to be on the show? Like, a lot of us have no idea how it all works. So maybe you can give us a little bit of insight.
Yeah, absolutely. So the process, man, is so long. We actually applied season 5 and 6. We applied to season 6. And each time we did it, it was such like a weird time in our growth period. And there was just so much going on, and all startups say that, but it was literally like, it was always coming at this specific time where like everything was so busy. And, we always gave like this lackluster video submission, and we worked really hard on the application. The applications were always good. The application is really long, super daunting to somebody who's just going to apply to the show and doesn't think that when they first get there. And they ask some pretty invasive questions for the company. So if you're not prepared for it, and you're just a standard startup that is not really thinking about it, bootstrapping along the way, and doesn't really have your ducks in line, you're not going to get through the process.
How big of a company were you when you applied? I mean, are you able to say what you did in revenues?
Yeah, we were doing when we applied, we were doing under $500,000 revenue.
Okay.
And we've grown every single, pretty much, either 1.5 times or two times every year since our inception, in terms of growth rate. But through the Shark Tank process, it's you get the application in, submit a video, and they kind of touch base with you. There's through the process and say like, hey, you kind of been selected to move along the way. At this point, we got selected. I think for the this past show that we went on, it was an 18-month journey from the time that we applied to the time that we actually aired.
18 months?
18 months.
Wow.
And it was a 10-month journey from the time we filmed to the time that we aired, with absolutely no communication with the production team at all to know when you're going to air.
That's so
we
crazy.
just got a random email in the mail, in my inbox.
You get like 1 or 2 weeks notice before you air.
Yeah, you have 3 weeks to try to figure out how you're going to scale a completely unique custom process to, as many users as you're ever going to get in your entire life. I mean, it's pretty nerve-wracking. And then before that, obviously through the interview process and then the actual pitch, to the sharks, there's about 6 or 7 checkpoints along the way where you may not make it through. And then when you do make it through, they basically say that 200 come film and 140 will actually air, or maybe less than that, 120, 140 companies, depending on what season it was. Sometimes even less, could be 100 companies. And then half of those get deals, so you're really thinking about it a lot as you step into the tank to say, like, what is going to be your outcome?
I mean, I'm wondering what the numbers are. Like, I'm wondering how many companies apply, and then, the percentage that get through the process and get to pitch and, and actually air. It's got to be like, well under 1%. I mean, we're talking like fractions and fractions of 1%. So that's pretty amazing that you guys got all the way through. Now, take us back to the night that it aired. It was this past April, right? April 2016?
Yes, that's correct. April 8th.
So what did that night look like for you guys?
It was so surreal. Obviously website traffic was crazy. We had thousands and thousands, over 10,000 concurrent users at any given time through the show. It's just spikes. It's just an immediate spike. Revenue through the weekend was 20 times previous year revenue. I mean, we just started blowing numbers out of the water. And you're starting to see, like, literally orders come in, multiple orders per second, and I've never seen something like that, especially with a custom funnel, which takes time to design a product, and our typical conversion cycle is like 18 days. It was just amazing. And I think actually the impact, you have a huge impact, 20x growth first 3 days. And it starts to level off, but level off is what, 5-7x growth, previous year growth. Or really any type of norm in general. You can even take Christmas growth. And then, through the rest of the month, you're still getting impacted. But I think it's all the other things that you weren't expecting to happen from Shark Tank, the intangibles that no one can describe. We're in this unique Facebook group with anybody who's ever stepped on the carpet, and we all share war stories there. And so you have this expectation of what you're going to do on Shark Tank, and then but the lasting effect, I think, is what's so interesting. Not that the fact that e-commerce continues to blow out of the water, because it plateaus. It definitely does. It comes down back, and you have a completely new norm. But all the things like your digital ads and everything like that, your cost is cut into a third. And all the other things that you're actually not thinking about get impacted in such a huge way.
Did your servers crash that night? Did the website crash?
No, they didn't. We worked really hard on that. We probably called, I don't know, maybe 50 Shark Tank companies before, and try to figure out whatever way they possibly could, because we also, the custom tool, it's pretty heavy. Your every single image that you're seeing has to be stored in a unique way and has its own space on a CDN. So we were constantly worried whether or not we were going to, those images pulling from somewhere, or our servers would be able to load fast enough. But everything worked great. We used some great technology, and we were really proud of that, actually.
Do you guys have your own dedicated servers? Or do you use someone like Rackspace or AWS?
Yeah, we use AWS. I think now we use actually Google servers today. We also use Cloudflare at the given time, which really helped keep things cached and loading quickly. And then obviously we optimize the images. Custom tools built on React, Facebook React, so it's also very quick. So we try to do as many of those type of enhancements to the site before, in order to kind of streamline the process and making sure that we stayed up and running.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I mean, I think most e-commerce companies I've heard them say that their websites crashed, that, they just couldn't handle all the traffic. So the fact that you guys kept it live is pretty impressive. I mean, I know it's that 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it, you guys must have been stressing out, because you knew once you went live, like, all that stuff better be, in place and ready to go. Otherwise you're screwed.
Yeah, you can't do it in 3 weeks. It's impossible. We had started to plan months before. It started to get pretty dire. We didn't want to raise again until we heard from the show. So you're going through a period where you're burning cash a lot of unexpected cash, because you're preparing for the show. And in our case, with our custom model, there was investments we had to make well before. So, the 3 weeks up, we're definitely starting to get nervous, but we were actually really on point. We were ready to go. We were checking over really our digital marketing strategy at that point, checking over the production cycle, how things would work, streamlining some other processes. So we were trying to really try to be ahead of game as possible. I mean, anybody who's listening that's either going to go on the show or got on the show or whatnot, I strongly suggest that you start well before you're actually going to get that call.
I mean, would you say that Shark Tank has added more than $1 million of revenue to the company?
Yes, it has.
That's awesome. That's pretty incredible. And you guys, obviously, I'm sure that night for the people that didn't, necessarily create an order or, submit anything, they probably, you probably have their email address or you got a Facebook like or anything else out of it. So you have a way to kind of drip on them now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our lead generation is a huge, huge part of the company.
So what does the business look like nowadays? What percent is retail and then what percent is, online direct to consumer?
Yeah, so online direct to consumer, it's about 40-60. Actually, B2B, just in general, is really large for us. We have a great sales team led by Sean Connect and Mike Sade that has really knocked it out of the park. We've worked with a lot of great brands from Tito's Vodka to Google to Best Friends Animal Society. If you go across the country to a lot of breweries around the nation, you'll see our products in their stores. And it's not just promotional products. It's the same product that got voted Best Dog Toy of the Year, but in a really cool spin, right? In some sort of beer bottle or something else. We really want to make sure that we're not kind of aligned in that promotional product market, but really maintain that pet image. And through online, our business is growing drastically every single year. I think this year we're about 3 to 4x up over last year, and that's starting to become a really strong transition for us, is to really break through the e-commerce realm.
Awesome. So you guys, I know you're bootstrapping in the beginning. At what point did you raise money from investors, and did you raise money before Shark Tank or after Shark Tank?
Yeah, we raised money before Shark Tank and after Shark Tank. We just had to sustain, with what we built. There's such a heavy cash flow intense business that we need to make sure that we're not burning cash too quickly. We raised our initial round. We got into an accelerator in Austin, Texas. Now it's called SKU, which really helped us kind of get aligned with our first investors. We raised an early round of equity that was $300K. And then we, that was to launch and test a custom platform and to see if pet parents everywhere would kind of catch on to this whole notion of designing their own products. When in fact we learned that was yes. We then moved to raise another round on a convertible note, which was just under $1 million.
Awesome. So who are some of those investors?
Some of our lead investors, ATX Seed Ventures, which is a great venture fund here in Austin. They're new on the scene here, but making a lot of big moves here in town. That's led by a guy named Chris Shank, who's really a great guy, and also Brad Bentz. Them together are doing great things here in Austin. And then we have a couple other guys that have made huge impacts on our company. Rick Lumbaum, who is CEO of LivingDirect.com. Alan Blake, who's the CEO of Glowfish, which is in the pet space and doing some amazing things. And then we have a great advisor, also, and a guy named Tucker Max, who was sort of a celebrity celebrity writer who ventured into a unique world and created quite a reputation. But he's a brilliant guy. He's done some remarkable things, and since then also started and grown a tremendous company.
Yeah, no, Tucker Max is not a household name with a lot of people, but I think his book was called "I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell," and then I think he's had 3 New York Times bestsellers all at the same time, which is unheard of. So I'm not too familiar with him as like an entrepreneur, but I know he's done some pretty cool stuff, and he's a pretty active investor. So what does your role right now with the company look like versus what did it look like a couple years ago?
My role now is kind of the head of all strategic decisions. I spend a lot of time in the marketing production department, but just to kind of align the company, financing, all that kind of stuff. I'm the CEO of the company. How did it change? It's really changed from being more hands-on, obviously, to being more of a strategic role at all times. Really using my network as much as possible. Shark Tank has given me the ability to reach people that I would have never expected. And just trying to harness that as much as possible. The rest of the roles of the team, the founders are an amazing team. really, really hardworking guys that have basically grown and developed, right here on the job. Sean Connects, who heads our sales and business development, has a tenacity and just such an upbeat attitude that anybody catches on to, and has helped us really make some great business development processes along the way. Sam Lampy is our CTO, COO Flex, and he's done some remarkable things with project management and operations that have really saved us a lot of money to expand. And then Ting Lu is really our production expert. He makes that world run and is doing things in China that people have not seen yet. So really proud of the guys that we have on our team on the founders group, and then supported by some great employees as well.
Nice. You guys are all first-time entrepreneurs too, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We're all first-time entrepreneurs. We've dreamed of doing this since we were real little. I've known everybody in the company. Everyone's kind of connected through me. Everyone that works for us has been a very close friend of mine, or somehow linked to me through my whole life. So it's really amazing culture here.
For people that don't follow the kind of the national startup community scene, they probably don't realize that Austin is probably a top 5 startup hub right now. What is it like building are you in Houston or Austin?
We're in Austin.
Okay. So what's it like building a startup in Austin nowadays?
It's really fun. It's really dynamic here. This is such a unique place in the sense that if you reach out to somebody who's successful here or is doing some awesome things, they're going to respond back to you. If you want to go grab coffee with somebody, they're going to do that. And, they're probably going to turn around and connect you to about 10 other people because they want to help you. That's the type of culture it is. I wouldn't say it's the type of town that you can go out and raise, huge Series A's or Series B's, although it's quickly transitioning. There's a lot more money coming into town. But in general, it's great for an initial startup getting their start here. And there's so much help and input into this community.
Right. You don't have those 400, 500, 600 million dollar VC funds like you have all over California, certainly Silicon Valley. So, you probably have a lot of, smaller startup VC funds, and, it'll take them a little while to ramp up and write those big checks. But, Boston went through this 10 years ago, and, Boston's certainly catching up to Silicon Valley, and it sounds like Austin's kind of right behind that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What has, the Instagram or the social media customer acquisition strategy? Is that mostly what you guys are doing right now, relying on social media? Or, I know you mentioned that you're doing a little bit of paid, but very little. Are you guys going to get more into paid, or, is SEO working? Content, what are you guys trying?
Yeah, social lead gen is where it's at for us. Email is huge. We really leverage that a lot since our customer conversion cycle is a little bit longer than normal. We play the PPC game, obviously through the other platforms, but it's an interesting game in that respect because other, large e-commerce platforms that are pet related or pet distributors can pay up much more for a customer than we can. So we really have to get crafty with our customers. We have a really large percentage of customers that come back and purchase from us again and have repeat customers because they like our product a lot. So that certainly helps. So once we identify a customer, get into the funnel, we usually keep them around for a bit. So we'll continue to really leverage the social platforms a lot, start enhancing kind of our lead gen game with a lot more content. I think that's what you'll see from a marketing perspective out of PrideBites over the next year. And continue to increase our product line. Once we get one of those customers and they come into the site, if they find a product that they like, they're going to for sure find a design because you can create anything you want. You can do anything to our products. And obviously all unique to your dog. But the one thing that we're seeing now is if you come to our site and you don't find the product you like, you're going to immediately leave, right? So we're expanding out our product selection a ton. I think we've added 12 or 13 products in the last couple of months, and you'll see a lot more of that in 2017.
Nice. What do you think your conversion rate is on your website?
I think I checked just the other day. It's about 4% right now. So pretty strong on desktop, and even higher when they come through the funnels that we want them to come through. So we're very, very pleased with that. We've at the very beginning we struggled quite a bit with user experience and the layout, user interface of the site, and how we would flow the user would flow through the site. And that was a very difficult challenge because choice parallelization, obviously, and customization for anybody that knows that becomes so apparent so quickly. And in our game, we thought, oh, more choices is going to immediately lead to more sales, but actually it was quite the opposite. Our customers immediately showcased why they needed so much inspiration because you could do so much with our product. And specifically now that you can upload images of your dogs and we either hand draw it or photoreal print it onto the product, you have even more options to go through. So, we want to give a lot of options, but we want to make sure that, it's an easy process to get through.
What do you guys use to optimize your homepage or landing site? Do you use lead pages or Unbounce? Do you have a favorite?
We actually use HubSpot as our CRM platform, run everything through there. So we're creating our own landing pages at this point, and creating our own funnels, which is really nice. I think once we started to build the framework and the initial structure, that's really where we enhanced the most as a company and grew the most online, and can see now predictable funnels developing is kind of when we got real serious about it.
And then how big of a part is customer service? Do you guys do live chat?
We do not do live chat. We've tiered with it a couple different times. The users don't really use the live chat, to be quite honest with you, although obviously statistics show that they would. But yeah, a lot of people email in. We're doing a lot now to invest in customer service and some of the technology on the back end so people can track their orders along the way. That will be something that's a new enhancement coming in 2017. But yeah, we're pretty active on customer service. We have very, very in-depth back pages. Our team's built out some awesome customer service stuff. Sean actually led all of that and has built out a great system for us to use. And it's something that we got to a manageable level, at least. I wouldn't say that we had a manageable level through Shark Tank, but it was a manageable level now.
No one's really ever able to handle the traffic and whatnot from Shark Tank. I mean, because it's just impossible to predict, and you can't hire a ton of people hoping that you air at some point in the near future, because it's just a big unknown. I wish they would give a little bit more transparency to the the founders. It's just hard to manage a company that way, but oh well. I guess it worked out for the best. What's the single best piece of advice any of your investors has given you?
The single best piece of advice any investor has ever given me. I think it's kind of the emotional strength that it takes to be a CEO, to be a startup founder, to go through kind of what we have and to continue to grind. You're going to get so many opinions along the way. You're going to get so much feedback along the way. But it takes somebody to really have that initial vision to be able to see it through as well. So really just continue to stay strong, go with what you think, take advice, obviously, but continue to what you think is the best thing and the best for the company in general.
Awesome. I normally ask, what's been the biggest challenge, so far, but it sounds like it was probably kind of a mix between manufacturing and then, getting ready for the Shark Tank airing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Manufacturing is a challenge, because we got it set up. We have everything ready. Time of production is always a challenge. We're expanding so quickly over there that we constantly have to branch out. We're going to be opening our own facilities, hopefully sometime in the near future, and in collaboration with all of our existing facilities. So that's really important for us. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, single unit customization, when you're not a Nike or Adidas, and you're not going from an existing brand that has millions and millions of sales per year, excuse me, millions of sales per year, and you're doing it basically from the bottom up approach as a startup, takes a lot of convincing and a lot of people to believe in you in order to get things done. And we've happened to have that. And along the way, especially when Shark Tank hit, production times, that becomes a challenge, is to how to deliver things to people quick enough and keep everyone happy. So customer service in sync with delivery times. And, we've gone through kind of growing pains in that level, and we've continued to work to, reduce delivery times and create a better customer experience. And I'm really excited to say that our team has really adapted every time that we've been presented a challenge where we've really outgrown or needed to make some quick decisions. We've been able to do it at a relatively quick pace, and create a better customer experience each time.
So for anyone, and I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that are going to want to hear this from you, for anyone looking to apply to Shark Tank, you guys made it through. What advice would you give to them, to give them a fighting chance?
I would really say to be as personable as you can, over the top bubbly in those videos, very personal, that you're kind of that you're sending off to the Shark Tank producers. Remember, you're being chosen now from, I think, when I was going through the process, maybe there was 50,000 applicants or something like that. Now there's probably even more than that. So I would say is really let your personality shine through. That's really important to them. Be very eccentric and know your business, know it inside and out. Because once you step in that Shark Tank, it's the most grueling investor meeting you're ever going to face. They're not going to just hit pause and let you walk away and regroup. So really have it all together.
Have you guys ever posted publicly your submission video?
We haven't. Actually, I don't even know where it is. We've talked about that internally. It was actually really ridiculous. I think even at one point, Sean was in a bathtub with his dog, I think, I strongly suggest, even after the submission, going through the checkpoints and, even the day before, there's another checkpoint where you're pitching to the producers, and getting some feedback from them. So I think we practiced like 150 or so times before. We went through every single question. There's been another podcast that I talked about kind of our preparation through Shark Tank, but we treated it like a business, and we were successful because of that. And I think for anyone that's going to go on to it, you should do the same.
Now, I've heard a lot of the pitches in the Shark Tank can last anywhere from 30 minutes to almost 2 hours, and then of course they edit it down to what we see, which is 8 minutes or 10 minutes per clip. But how long were you guys actually in Shark Tank in front of the sharks pitching?
We were only in there for about 45 minutes. Okay. I think we were probably on the easy side versus some people that have been in there. Yeah, I know some folks that have been there about 2 hours. So they gave us an easy run.
What was the craziest thing that you remember from that day?
The craziest thing from that day, actually, is the day that gay marriage was legalized. It was an amazing day for everybody in America. So everyone was on a super high, and when we walked into the tank, I think, or getting ready to go into the tank, I think what I just didn't expect is the level of intensity. It is the most intense investor pitch I've ever had. There's a spitfire of questions coming at you literally nonstop. I don't think I was expecting that. And obviously the way that everything transpired through our episode, the deal coming down to the end like that, I wasn't expecting either. So it's, all in all, I think you got to be really ready to be flexible when you're in there, because anything can really happen.
And do the producers show you the edited, format before it actually airs, or do you guys really have no idea, what they edited it down to and what's going to be shown?
Nothing. They keep you in the dark as much as you can. It is a grueling process, especially for those, going through and that don't have a lot of contact at all. Some people, I guess, try to reach out to them. We didn't. We just kind of let things happen. Standing in line for a South by Southwest concert and looked down on my phone and got an email that said I was going to be on Shark Tank in 3 weeks. And
oh my God!
I didn't hear anything before that until 10 months before. So, it's everything they do there is an element of shock.
I'm sure once you got that email, I can't even imagine the overwhelming emotions. Because you knew that being on that show, having it air, that's life-changing for everybody.
Yeah, and on top of that, I knew the experience I had. I've been presenting in front of people my whole life. I was in a really big youth group when I was a kid that I traveled all over the country and did a lot of youth leadership stuff. And then through college, I was really active and did a lot of presentations. And Tucker Max actually beat me into I think a decent presenter now. I wouldn't say I'm great by all means, but he really helped me shape who I am as a presenter. I think from that point on, getting to that stage or having that moment, knowing what I already had been through, I was just so excited from the get-go. And I think if you're an entrepreneur and you've been pitching as much as we had been at that point and getting in front of as many people, that's what you dream of. That's the moment you dream of, is to get in front of on the biggest stage in the world through a pitch, basically competition, right? And it was just so exciting to know what was going to come out, even though we didn't know that it was going to be 10 months after the time that we actually aired.
Awesome. Just a couple quick questions, then we'll jump into a couple fast fire questions. What's your favorite third-party piece of software that you use on a daily basis that helps you run your business better?
My favorite third party, probably HubSpot, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think HubSpot's probably the best piece of software we use.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys use them for a lot, which is cool. I like HubSpot. Good,
Yeah,
great company,
absolutely.
great culture. And then kind of last question here. A lot of people want to outsource their manufacturing to China. It's certainly not an easy task, as I'm sure you guys have experienced, but any advice that you could give to them on how to do it the right way?
Yeah, I would say be patient and really try to understand the culture. The culture is very different from the American culture. You can't go bullnose your way through it. Everybody that does seems to get on the wrong path, and it's a long relationship game. Go out there, meet them in person, and have somebody culturally who can take you through that process. I've been taking Chinese now for about 11 and a half months, and I've done my fair share of learning the culture and understanding and adapting and how they do business. And I think that's where people get the misconception, is that they can get online, they can chat with somebody, and then all of a sudden they can just have the best manufacturer in the world. But it works the same way as it would here in the States, right? Is spend your time getting to know these people, who they are, where they come from. It's much more than just a business relationship to them. It's a partnership that lasts for a while.
Awesome. And then two more questions. One question, what is one personal goal for yourself over the next 12 months?
A personal goal for myself. I think, is first it was crossing $1 million in sales.
It sounds like learning Chinese might be one of them.
Yeah, I mean that would definitely be it. I'll go ahead and chalk that up to that. I already feel like I'm getting good. I think kind of mastering the language would be a personal goal.
Are you trying to read it and write it, or just at this point just speak it?
Yeah, right now I'm just speaking, being able to listen and speak back. But next year I'll start to venture into trying to write it.
Good luck, man. It looks hard. I've never tried, but it looks like one of the harder ones to probably try to learn. And then last question, what's your favorite?
Hard.
I wouldn't know where to begin, but in your case, with your business and how you guys need China for manufacturing, I mean, all the credit to you, because that will make you a better entrepreneur, a better partner for those people. And then last question, what's your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show, I think currently, probably right now, is SportsCenter. I probably watch that in the background while I'm working. I don't watch much TV. I work quite a bit, but when I do, it's always on in the background.
What's your favorite sports team?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Sweet. They're having a good year.
It's a good year to be a Cowboys fan, man.
Okay. Rookie quarterback, rookie running back, and they may be Super Bowl bound. So we'll see.
That's right. They're basically a startup, right?
For sure, yeah. With the best offensive line in football, that helps too.
That's right.
Cool, man. I really want to appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show today. Awesome interview. Really excited that you kind of cracked the Shark Tank cherry for me here, and I got a couple more Shark Tank companies coming on over the next couple months. But this was awesome. I remember you guys being on the show, so to have a chance to talk to you is just very kind of humbling. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, John. I really appreciate it. And for everyone out there, follow us on Instagram, see what we're doing. We're really changing the game in pet, and you can do it all at PrideBites.com. So really appreciate the opportunity to speak to all the users.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll put the PrideBites website and all your social media, accounts in the show notes and on iTunes and Google Play and everything else.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonah, very much, man. I really appreciate it.
Man. Take care, Steven. Talk to you soon.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.